I'm Clayton Gutzman. This is the AV Club Sound Check with Soul, broadcasting live from Fort Lauderdale. So, Soul, please show us why that you have so much soul when you're rapping.
Well, to be honest, I have an imprint by the name of Soul Network, and it's come from my last name Solomon. I say the name Soul, and sometimes they, think of SOUL, but no, it's SOL. So when it comes down to like my label, we try to incorporate more of like island like theme and bass music, and not necessarily too conscious of anything. Like I feel like there's a little bit too predictable. So it's like and painting pictures as well too with our visuals. So like it's not just a record label. So we're showing different type of ways that we incorporate the soul and what we got going on. Cause like we could get there. That's easy. That's like ground level one when it comes down to making music. So majority of the time we try to think of what's outside the box, like Pharrell Williams and whatnot, and like Kanye. Even big people like Jay-Z. Around that type of platform. And when it comes down to putting soul in our music.
Thank you for sharing your inspirations. We're going to dig into that in one moment, but I want to focus more on you. What message you want to send through your music?
Well, when it comes down to my music, like it's okay to feel and have your emotion, and like it's okay to be human. Like that's what I get across with my music, because I sometimes I used to throw it into that miscellaneous type of category where people used to think about Playboy Cardi or whatnot, but I think about my recollections whenever it comes down to listening to some of the things that I do, whether it be a club anthem or a love ballad. I sometimes think of some of the pain I go through, like writing some of that stuff. So that's what I bring back to like what it reminds me of what I do music for. It's like, oh, okay, like it's not just like getting the next bar off or like impressing that person. It's just like sometimes I might sneak a bar or two just to go ahead and remind myself like, okay, I did start from somewhere and why I wanted to start music, and it was from the pain.
Thank you. And let's tap into that more. What was the sharpest pain you used to create music?
Definitely the time period where I couldn't write. That was the sharpest pain. Like going through life trauma, where it's like I went homeless for a moment, and that necessarily didn't start my writing. It was more of like every exterior force outside of being homeless. Because it's just like sometimes I don't like to let predicaments like outside of music stop me from writing at all. Like I try to wake up and the first thing I do is write for at least 10 minutes. That's one of the things I read throughout a book before. So I try to implement that still, even if I'm waking up by the sun instead of an alarm clock. So it's like that was like one of the deepest pains where like I had everything going on in life and I just couldn't find anything to write down on the paper.
Oh man, that's deep. Then let's talk about today. Let's talk about your routine. Like waking up in the first 10 minutes, you write something down. What else goes on with a day of you?
Of course, like if my wife wake up before me or my daughter wake up before me, because sometimes I try to wake up before them so I can get on to like some of the duties around the label and stuff like that. But of course, it always runs back to like the artistry, so that I could like let down that example for the criteria that I want other people, whether it's the producer or somebody's working on the cover art, the machine that I am. So sometimes I gear up the machine at 6:30 just off of that trauma from back from like 3-4 years ago of just waking up from the sun inside of like, a Saturn view, you know what I'm saying? And try to put myself back into that pain and knowing, okay, I have a loving wife and stuff like that now. And I try to get like an hour to an hour and a half before even exercising. I have to write, that used to be, a vice I wanted to substitute for like smoking maybe marijuana or like going to the studio consecutively and knowing I didn't have the money for it. That's a vice. I feel like that's a vice. So sometimes I'll try to get into more writing and thinking about ideas, abstract ideas as well too, outside of music, so that when I do get in the studio and I'm getting all that pressure off and stuff like that, like it makes sense. So that's kind of what my day looks like whenever I wake up in the morning. Like I try to get to write the first 10 minutes, like that's so that I could be creative for the rest of the day.
Thank you for sharing the routine. Now let's
Definitely.
talk about the results. What's your latest music?
My latest music, I just released a collaboration project with Gavin White. It's called To Be Honest, TBH. We use that as the acronym, and it's on all platforms right now. And we have it's like a 2-track EP. Bottle Life Cartel from Atlanta. He ended up making a record on that. That ended up becoming the second record. I wanted to become the first. We're gonna shoot a video for it. It's most likely gonna be just me, like the way that I have the storyboard, because he's more of like a R&B based type of singer and everything like that. Like he's kind of involved with like Soul Network with how I like to get some of the reference tracks worked up. That's what they call them in the industry. So it's like I'll send a record to him or whatnot, and he'll probably just work it around and shift it to the type of direction he wanted to. And we got the final product where it's at now, and I'm loving it. I can't wait to see what we may do on TikTok, because some of the other things I've been doing on features, sometimes I don't like to pay attention too much into the marketing. I like to just like to keep releasing. And sometimes I gotta remind myself I'm still an artist. I try to stay in the marketing of my other artists rather than mine. I just try to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying?
So thank you for mentioning that about your artist and trying to realize who you are. Let's actually go back to your inspirations. You mentioned Jay-Z and Pharrell. Who are the other musicians that inspire you to create?
Definitely, I could say Lil Wayne, Drake, constantly legends. Like inside my catalog that I'll go back and like YouTube and just like think like penmanship. And as far as I say Eminem back in the day, but like as far as taking that pocket, Tyler the Creator, as far as like abstract ideas, like there's always different color palettes to really listen in your playlist when you play different things. So you got new cats out right now like Anderson .Paak and stuff, but like back in the day coming up, I was listening to like Earl Sweatshirt, ASAP Rocky. That was dope back in the day. Like I said, I was back in that era. Like Club Paradise was coming out, and you got Kendrick coming on that tour and stuff. So I used to study a lot into like the music and who all was involved, getting into doing things like Noah and stuff like that. Their producers and stuff, so that like when Travis Scott comes out, it's easier and makes sense because I'm a fan of what they're like doing as an atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? So that was a lot of big inspirations. Like it's countless. Kanye West. Oh my gosh, I love Kanye.
I do too, but he's hard. It's hard to be a Kanye West fan. 2022. I can't tell you, man. There's things we can't. There's so many things we can't defend with him, yo. It's just like I love him to death, and trust me, I'm not the fans that said I love the old Kanye. I love Kanye now, but he's doing a whole bunch of antics and skits that we can't defend, and it's upsetting. But actually, to bring it back to you, because Kanye, he's big. He gets enough attention.
Definitely.
What do you do to make your music real and pure? We talked about Kanye and how the fact that he does a lot of antics to try to get more people to listen. I believe they don't work as much. But I want to focus on you. What made your theme pure and doesn't need any skits or stunts to actually get people to listen?
And it's funny that you say that, like, or skits and stunts, because it feels like majority of my music feels like that sometimes, that I don't involve the skits or stunts. Like, where I have somebody probably talking this and that. I probably put them in, like, where I'm at in that seat, in that realm, as far as like once we make it to the hook or whatnot, and what I'm talking about from the first verse, I know I debuted like a little bit of some lyrics earlier in my conscious bag or whatnot, but sometimes I like to experiment and show myself. You know what I'm saying, when it comes down to like making the music. So I can write all day, but sometimes I like to get behind the microphone and freestyle for a couple hours and shadow box with myself and see what type of bars I can make on the spot. And when it comes down to it, because, when I might get in, Sway the Morning one day and I have to find the savviest bar in my bag, you know what I'm saying? And I have to be able to have that muscle. So, like, that's the way I teach myself as well, too, to keep going and to be different. Like I don't want to be in the same lane and channel all the time. So it's like that's another reason why I always challenge myself.
Now, with all these challenges you're presenting yourself, what's the destination? What's trying to be the end result that is soul?
Definitely, I'm a business mind, like the way I think about things, and even though that music venture is my first passion, but I know like when I get to a certain age, I see myself with like a cereal box or something like that, like down in South America or something, or like a gas station that I'll probably have, and that like my name, black owned or whatnot, and really take the time to do that.
So that's the second thing I see that's pretty peculiar about you. First, I noticed that you're a married rapper with kids, so that's the thing I want to talk about. But saying the fact that you want to have aspirations overseas by just having a gas station cereal box, those are things I don't hear from people who are trying to pursue this route. What makes you go in that direction?
It's really hard. The thing is like I didn't see myself working too much. Like, even though I'm working like my butt off right now, like day in and day out, working a 9 to 5 for quote unquote the white man, or however you see it, the man. But I don't want to be working for anybody. Like, I know even with my entity that I have, I could be working for somebody. So I'm trying to find out like I remember in 2016, I was dropping my baby mama off to work, and she worked at the airport. And it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was like a black-owned bank. Me knowing like I'm my industry, I'm nowhere near there. I can't make that type of money, or like that loophole of how I'm gonna not work. You know what I'm saying? Every human is thinking about that, but I just like like when I do get of age, like I don't see myself performing like more than like 33 or 35 or whatnot. Like hopefully if I do see myself with like a Big Sean or a Drake type of or Nicki Minaj type of career where it's 10 years or 15 years down the line but personally I'd rather have a Quincy Jones type of career where you're kind of knitted more into the music and symphony and everything, even down where you can kind of leak into like doing plays like and other type of TV stuff and programs. But like even after that venture, I just want to be able to own that gas station and stuff like that, and whatever royalties come from whatever ventures we did like within our black owned business, and at that have that one gas station that I do have. Like whether I do get two or three, like how people have that trucking business and they say, okay, once I get the third or fifth truck, I'm really on. So I think that one is really gonna do it for me. I'll be satisfied and think that my lineage should be okay.
Great use of the word lineage. I actually want to focus on that. How does having a wife and a child help you create music?
Oh, that's my backbone. You know what I'm saying? So like, even when I slip up, like somebody to cushion you, like you need that. Somebody needs something like that. Sometimes we're in this industry where like it's hard for a person to find anything like as far as a friendship. Somebody like sometimes we can't find a cameraman, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to like a relationship. So it's perfect that I have a wife. I don't have to go flex with no person out the club or she gonna got me on Instagram. I gotta wake up on City Girls up 1 and I'm down 0 because my tab is gone. So I look at those type of predicaments and how strong she's building me at that. Like I shadow box a lot when it comes down to doing my sets and stuff because I want to be up there with that Jay-Z and Ye and Nicki Minaj where you get those tours and you go ahead and get a loan for it and stuff like that. I want to be able to show that I'm capable of doing that. So with that support system, it's important. You can't do that without that, like, to be honest. Like, you can kind of think you're doing it. Like, look how Flimsy is looking for at least, I say the Travis Scott estate, you know what I'm saying, with that type of queen holding them back because it's a queen at the end of the day. But you look at a different type of queen where Ye is, fiending for his queen because his queen going to make him win. You know what I'm saying? He knows that. There's no other woman that's going to do that. So he's not looking for the next chick. Like, yeah, he got naked women coming through the studio with Future making an album, but that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I feel like that's always important to have, like, a back. You don't have to wife her up immediately, but I just always knew. And she married me at the end of the day as well, too. So that was important, like, wanting to know if that person was for me, like, and not just for after the things that, that's going along or, like, that meal ticket that, any woman would be looking for. But it was just a lot of different things with her that was just different than any woman that I've ever, like, come across. So it's, like, definitely, I don't see myself with nobody else, bro. Like, even at, like, the 10 to 15, 25 years I've planned out with different producers and different people I want to do work with. So it's like, yeah, we're going in it for the long haul. I'm making sure these women are for you. I'm good.
Man, I like that. You try to be spotless right there. What songs are inspired by your wife and child?
What songs?
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about me, I really listen to a lot of my work, so it's hard. Like, sometimes I always ask my wife, like, when she got stuff on Facebook and her IG and she has stories, and I don't listen to her to listen to any music around the house, cleaning and stuff like that. She tells me to play stuff, so I'm always playing, like, some little baby stuff just for, like, an interlude to my life. You know what I'm, like, just leading on to the next segment. So most of the time I'm listening to my music, if anything. I wish I kind of grew up on some oldie goldie music, like I kind of did, but I looked at it from a mind frame of monetization. So it's like I couldn't necessarily grasp it for too much of the love. Like when I'm listening to Jill Scott back in the day, like, like Baduism, like that's one of my favorite albums as far as like back from that time period and stuff. But like that's one of my mom's and my auntie mama's favorite like discographies and stuff like that. So that synthesized from their love of music, but as far as from how I signify what their love is, it's kind of hard in this day and age. Like I said, Anderson .Paak is like kind of miscellaneous music still to me. Like it's not too full on R&B like as far as what it was back in the day. Like I know they do the subgenres now of like I think it's young or adult R&B and stuff like that. It's just like crap like that. It's not simple. You know what I'm saying? It just like saturate the game a little bit for the R&B. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's different type of things that I'm not playing any Blueface with my daughter on Instagram, so it's kind of hard for me. So like I do market my own music when it comes down to like what do I feel like is the soundtrack to their life. So sometimes I try to make the bars and things like that's why I talk about my kids and my wife a lot sometimes on my music, and not just about women. Like I do make that music just for the sale and whatnot and whatever producer envisions and what, but I try to keep it homebody at all times when it comes down to making the soundtracks to my life and also their lives. But like I said, I don't necessarily listen to what too much my wife like does on her own time when cleaning and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to put a pin on that question.
Oh, that's fair. Hey, listen, trust me, I want all of that too. And trust me, it's love. It's hard for you to articulate what love is to encompass it, especially since you've been with her for so long. To bring back the time for a sec, what's next?
What's next? To be honest, I'm working on stuff for my artists right now. So that's the hardest thing of always saying what's next. I always got things coming out. Like I promise you, and I've touched on this before, but it's like I don't know. Like things just happen, and I'm so gifted, and God is great. I'm glad that everything's coming for me. Like as far as down to like the placements I done had and coming to me in the future and that I know of, and it's just like, bro, I don't know.
Excellent. Well, we're here in the AV studio. This is the mic check. We're here to talk about some bars now. So please, show us what you got, please.
Yeah, definitely. I got some bars. I have a record by the name of Sotheby's. It's by a buddy of mine named Dueso, and we've been making a couple records here and there. Just wanted to show you one of the packs from the studio. We're gonna release it soon on all platforms, by the way, as well.
Excellent. Oh, and before you go off, then please, where can people find you?
You can find me on Apple Music, Spotify. I really don't like to do social media too much because there's not enough money there. But to be honest, yeah, my music is the mainframe where most people know me from, like when I go out, because I test the measures a lot. So that's why I'm meeting people there. Like just go ahead and go to Apple Music, Spotify, and let me know.
Excellent. Okay, this is AV Studio Soundcheck with Soul. Go ahead, Soul. Take it away.
I got a form like a liquid sword. I could go toe to toe with them niggas that's tip attacking. Niggas on Twitter on me trying to get to a bigger status. Way to establish the way to weight make a bigger bastard. Pinky ring dangling, they salute like the major pain. I know them niggas done paid the way for me make it rain. Strippers and lemon pepper, somehow I go ease the pain. Addicted to poking pussy as pink as the Easter. Study the analytic all night, they been keeping up. This is the final hour, not the final countdown. Ass so big up in my phone, her name a roundabout. Never get the run around and never go for runner up. Solely.
There we go. That was a one bar. I was like, fuck.
This is the AV Club Sound Check with Soul.
Word up. All right, so y'all gonna be able to find me at Khalil Solomon. That's my IG, and also it'll be backwards for my Twitter. And when it comes down to my YouTube, SOL. That's also for my Spotify, my Apple Music. And good looks for rocking with me. Clay, I love you, by the way, bro.
Of course.
Love the interview.
Excellent. Thank you.